There we go. All right. Well, a nice little late fall practice. We'll start in your seat, whatever that looks like for you. Yeah. I think he's gonna let him get settled here. Get into my chair because it's loud. There we go. Now he's happy. And you can start to just roll and shake and move until you feel comfortable. And wiggle. Feel free to close the eyes, or if you want to still kind of look around and move, that's fine. We'll begin to lengthen and deepen our breath. I've been using this type of breath or idea for breath this past week or two, so that we're inhaling and then exhaling, starting to feel really heavy and soft and warm. And concentrating on that exhale of heavy, soft, and warm. Encouraging the muscles to relax. And tailbone to get heavy. To feel the warmth of the breath as you exhale. And then we'll incorporate the lightness and coolness of inhaling with the heavy, warm, and soft of exhale. I'll start to use this time of transition. It's cool, okay, to let your mind sort of wander back in time for a moment, or allow whatever thoughts you were having before, things you were processing, to come up, and then use that awareness of heavy, warm, soft, cool, and light. And the same thing for anything that you were planning, anything that was coming up that you're thinking about for the future. Starting to stabilize and bring some balance into the breath and into your mindset for right now. And start to add in, connecting with right now, everything that's touching the floor, maybe, or the ground. Just start to notice those places. I'm really enjoying this play of identifying everywhere where the body touches itself. So if the legs are folded, where the legs fold and touch the toes, the armpits. If the eyes are closed, where the upper and lower eyelids touch. Let us spend some time going through and noticing and sensing all of those places. On your own time, you can start to roll through the shoulders and the neck. Them big shoulder and neck rolls, a little combination of the both. You feel free to stretch. We're gonna move into a seated Paschimottanasana. And if you're seated in the chair, that's okay too. You bring your legs out in front. Couple of options. If you've got a bolster or you've got a pillow of some sort, you can put it underneath your legs or your knees. If you wanted, you could squeeze a block between the inner thighs. And totally up to you, using or not using a strap. If you're seated, I'd say use a strap and maybe put the bolster underneath the feet. And we'll curl forward. One nice thing to do here, if you're seated and you have a couple of blocks, can support the head. Or you could bend the elbows, ditch your strap, and just let your head rest in your hands. But we'll set up because we want to stay here for about 10 long, deep breaths. So take your time to get set up for a Paschimottanasana, which is west side or the back of the body facing pose, so that the back of the body is facing up, right? But curling in. Sometimes we want a flat back. Today we're just going to let the shoulders and the head rest. And once you get there, let your jaw settle, the shoulders, and we'll stay for 10 breaths. Working with the heavy exhale. Another 3 rounds of breath. And when you want to, curl or press yourself up. If you've got the blocks between the legs, or move them out of the way, you could put them on either side of you if you wanted. We're going to take a really gentle twist. And as you're twisting, twist to the right and let that opposite hip slide with you. If you wanted to use the block behind the hand or behind you, pressing your hand there, that's fine. So one way to do this is to take your opposite hand and put a little pressure on the thigh. So you're encouraging more of a twist. That's kind of a more passive twist. If you wanted it to be more active, you could raise the arms up and twist yourself that way. So decide if you like to be more active or passive. I'm going to tent my fingertips, so I'm a little bit in the middle here. I'm going to press on the back block and take about 2 to 3 more breaths. Make sure that as you're twisting, you're still able to have freedom in your neck. We don't want to be twisting so much that the neck feels stuck. And go ahead and unwind and wiggle. And just simply twist to your second side. If you're like me, maybe one side feels a little easier to twist into than the other. Freedom in that neck. And then we'll move back to center. Here's where we're going to move on to the back. And if you want to play with lifting the hips on your back, you could lie down on top of your bolster. You could roll up or just fold your blanket. I'm going to take my blocks. Once I'm down on my back, I'm going to take my blocks on their medium and place them on underneath my low back. So I'm going to lift. You could do the same thing with the bolster. And they're not very high up. They're just right at the sacrum. I'm going to move that out of the way. So decide how you'd like to be. If it feels good to lift the hips, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. See if you can keep the shoulders and the head on the floor. We'll just hang out. Get used to this. Even if you don't have any problem, just get used to being on the back for a moment. Still use that heavy, soft exhale and that nice light inhale, cooling inhale. When you're ready, we'll move into Apanasana by bringing the right knee in. Lots of options again here. If you have your strap, feel free to strap over the knee or behind the thigh. If you want to interlace the fingers, that's fine, over the shin or the thigh. I really try and keep the head and the shoulders anchored down so that we're drawing that knee in. We're going to hang out here for a little while. If you like extending the left leg, go right ahead. If you don't like it, that's fine. You can incorporate some rolling through the toes, point and flex while you're here, or look left and right. But the idea is that we're just using the weight of the arms to draw this knee into the chest. Can be quite a bit of compression. So notice if you're kind of fighting back, or maybe you can feel your belly. Inhaling, pressing against the thigh, and exhale, soften. Just letting gravity and the shape do work for you. One or two more breaths. And then we're going to keep this right leg anchored down and lift and lower the left leg. maybe 10 or so of these leg lifts. Nice and slowly. If you feel any pinching or pulling when you lift the leg, you don't need to go so far. One or two more. So we're about at 10. And then next time that the left foot comes down, just bend the knee and plant the foot. And you can either interlace the fingers behind the right thigh or use your strap, and now we'll reach the right foot up. You can bend and straighten as many times as you want to. You could keep bending and straightening. And even if you wanted to kick out and then lift, that's fine. Or pause with the leg lifted. And point and flex and roll through the ankle. Still head, neck, and shoulders really heavy. And a shorter hold, go ahead and let that right foot come down. We'll take a break. And you could extend the legs or keep the feet planted. If you're lifted on the blocks and you've had enough, that's fine. You can come off of them, but we'll pause. Just let that work settle in. And then start to switch sides. Excuse me. Hugging the left knee in. However you want to hug in. As we hold. Maybe roll through the ankles again. About 4 more breaths. And then when we'll start to lift and lower the right leg. With all this compression going into the belly, you could get a little gurgle belly. Next time your right leg comes down, go ahead and plant the foot. And then switch your grip as you extend up and down through the left leg. Pause and hold for a moment. And we'll let that left leg come down. And if you've got that blocks or support underneath the low back, we'll take those out. Move them off to the side. And we're going to take the heels of the hands and push them like right at the hip crease where we've been doing lots of compression. Might feel like you're getting some more space in the low back. And you can keep a little bit of pressure there if you wanted as you anchor the feet down. We're just going to tuck the tailbone back and forth. Like you're doing cat-cow only in the low half of the body. Maybe 2 or 3 more of those. And then we're going to lift the legs up to their tabletop position. Go ahead, roll around, maybe make some circles. If you wanted to, you could pick your blocks back up just for a little bit of weight and hold on to them and press them up towards the ceiling. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. And we'll start to tap opposite hand and foot. If you have the blocks, go ahead and bend the elbows so you're not putting too much pressure on your shoulder. But we'll just do an opposite hand heel tap. And while you're doing this, still press the low back into the floor. Keep going. One more. And then we'll let the feet come down. You can bring the blocks down. And we'll just start to heel toe the feet wide and let the knees windshield wiper back and forth. We're going to turn this windshield wipering into a twist. So once you kind of get those legs started, and you can keep doing that, of course, if you want to do. But next time you're towards the right, windshield wipering to the right, just roll your whole body to the right so you're curled in a little ball. And then you can start to peel the left arm open. It might feel nice to bring a block between the legs or support underneath the knee. We'll take a nice big stretch. Feel free to move the tailbone back and forth as we stretch out that hip flexor that we compress so much. You can roll back to your side and then we'll switch, roll through center. Heel toe the feet wide again as you windshield wiper. And then when you feel ready, rolling all the way off to the left. And peeling the right arm open. Like I said, feel free to support underneath your knee or thigh with a block. And we'll unwind, coming back to center. We did a bunch of bridge last week. We're going to do just one version here, our rolling bridges. If you like using the block between the inner thighs and squeezing it, go right ahead. We'll keep the feet firmly planted. Arms to either side of the side waist. And as you press down, peel the back up, reach, and exhale down. About 10 of these. Trying to move from the tailbone up. And then as you lift, keeping the head where it is and bringing the chest towards the chin. Remembering not to look around once you bring pressure up towards the shoulders and the neck. Just 2 more. And then after this, we're going to move all the way around and through into our child's pose. Once the hips come down, make your way to a child's pose. We're going to do work on the knees, or do work. Yeah, that's a fine way to put it. So if you're wanting extra support, now's a great time to pick up your extra mat or blanket. It'll be nice to have blocks close. Creating a child's pose can always bring those blocks up to the chest and for the forehead. Maybe that will feel good today. Staying for a little bit in our child's pose. Giving our back some space. Feel free to rock the head. Just 3 more rounds of breath, a warm exhale. Cool inhale. And start to transfer to all fours. Like I said, you could have those blocks close. You might want them. We'll bring the legs parallel. And just some little hip sways or cat-cows so that you feel comfortable on your knees. Feel free to roll through the shoulders too. And we're going to warm the hips up a bit more. And we'll just start with lifting the right leg up and drawing circles with the knee. If you want to, you could rotate and hands on the blocks. That might feel better and give the hip more space, but we'll keep the heel towards the hip and make maybe 5 or 6 rotations in one direction. And then switch directions. And then we'll just switch sides. Left leg up, big circles at the knee. Go the other way if you haven't already. And both knees down. Start to step your right foot back, pressing, extending through the leg. Then we're going to turn to the inside of the right foot. This is where you could want blocks again. Maybe 1 or 2. Then tuck the tailbone and peel up into a version of side plank, knee down side plank. Really tuck the tailbone and reach to the crown of the head, lengthening. And then draw big circles with this right arm. Like you're painting the inside. I like this one. Painting the inside of belt. If you wanted to, you could slide and make a little hitch with the left foot behind the hip more rather than in line with the knee. And now the next time that the right hand comes down, we'll plant the right hand. We're going to step the right foot off to the side and then shift our weights forward and back, rocking forward and back. Try and keep pressure on the outer edge of the foot. Like I said, you've got blocks. Just reaching back as far as it feels okay. And again, you might want blocks for this as we drop down onto the forearms and let the head drop down. You could have blocks underneath the forearms and let the head drop down. Notice if you locked this right knee, see if you can keep the thighs soft. And feel free if you don't have the blocks, or even if you do, maybe you want to twist more towards the right foot and get a stretch on the side or away. We'll just stay for another breath in this folded gate pose. And either on the forearms or press yourself up or using blocks. Slide the right knee back underneath the right hip. And I'll turn around. We can wiggle. And we'll move to our second side. I'm going to step the left foot back and shift. And then roll to the inside of the left foot. Either swing the right foot all the way. We'll press down and tuck the tailbone, coming into our side plank version. Once you feel stable, nice big circles with the left arm. And then go the other way. And now that left arm will come down. We'll step or swing the left foot off to the side and start to rock forward and back. Pause in the middle and fold in the gate pose. If you like or want to try walking the hands to one side for more of a twist, go right ahead. Then we'll press into the hands, bring the left knee underneath the left hip, and just wiggle, maybe a cat-cow. Okay, from here, we're going to play with the dolphin pose. And what that looks like is from our all fours, okay, we're going to plant the elbows about where the hands were, so that when you come down onto the forearms, you can interlace the fingers. And I'm going to show you a kind of a cool way to get balance on the hands. So when you interlace the fingers, naturally one pinky is going to wrap over the other. You're going to bring that back and tuck it in so that you have a flat. So rather than wrapping, you're going to fold the pinkies over one another so that it's flat rather than wrapped. Okay, yeah, cool. All right, and then that is your flat base for the hands. So come back onto the all fours, dropping the elbows down about where the hands were. Interlace the fingers, stack those pinkies, and then press like you're in your cat pose. This is a great place to hang out. Press into the hands and the forearms. And if you like it there and it feels okay, maybe you want to play with curling the toes under and lifting into dolphin. And the feet can be wide. And it might feel good. As you lift up, keep pushing the ground away. And make sure you've got freedom in the neck. So we're not putting pressure on the head ever. And the knees can be generously bent. Maybe you want to wiggle like you do in downward facing dog or twist. And then we'll strongly tap the knees back down. Bring the arms back out. And scoot back so that we can lie on the belly. We're going to give our arms a break. And our head a break. Feel free to stack the hands and rock the head back and forth. Maybe wiggle the hips or windshield wiper the feet back and forth. Start to create your Sphinx pose. And we're going to interlace the fingers again the same way we did in Dolphin. Okay, so interlace the fingers, fold and wrap those pinky fingers and press down. And then start your head nod again. Rolling through the neck. Try and keep pressing into the forearms and the elbows. Then we're going to pause. You can have the chin to the chest if you'd like, or just the head kind of looking forward at the edge of your space. We're going to firm the right leg, flex the foot, and then try and kick yourself in the bottom a couple of times. And then next time you're trying to kick yourself in the bottom, keep squeezing and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let the right leg come down. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Maybe windshield wiper, and we're going to do the same thing with the left leg, so the right leg is totally passive. Engage in the left leg, keep pressing into the forearms, flex the foot, try and kick yourself in the bottom. About 5 times, and then hold, squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll release and come all the way down. Maybe look left and right or wiggle the hips. We'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders and press yourself up and back to child's pose. Give your back a bit of a rest. Feel free to walk the hands to one side. And then to the other. We'll come back to center and walk the hands up as you swing the legs around. Okay. This little shoulder neck version, playing with that interlaced finger. And then once you're up, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, knees apart. And just let the knees kind of flop around for a moment. And the heels do not need to be close You should actually kind of be a little bit farther away. And then with the soles of the feet together, knees apart, we're going to take another twist. We're going to do this twice. Just getting used to a little soft twist in one direction and then twist in the other direction. Warming up the spine again. Make your way back to center. And now step and fold the right foot in, but keep that left knee out. We're gonna hug and deepen our twist to the right. If you wanted to, you could wrap the elbow around if that's available. If not, just keep hugging in. A little bit of pressure on the belly to support the back. And you can unwind, and it's about 5 breaths, folding in the left foot, planting, lift, squeeze, and twist. We'll unwind again. And then this time, as we move into a forward fold here, I'd recommend picking up your blocks and maybe your bolster. And instead of keeping the feet just as they are, we're gonna slide the right foot back so the feet are in one line, they're just off center. And then forward fold. And your forward fold might be up here. If you can let the hips soften, feel free to hold on to or capture the forehead. You can let the shoulders relax. Another breath on this side. You can walk or peel yourself up. Slide that right foot back. Draw the left heel in, and we'll do the same thing, another forward fold. And it could feel kind of different on this side. Press yourself back up. Slide the feet back together, assist the knees together. I always like this, holding on to the backs of the thighs, maybe give the hips a little wiggle. Usually that gives me a bit of a back adjustment. And then we'll set ourselves up with either just the blocks, block for the head and one for the back, or blocks and your blanket, or blocks and bolster as we lay back, with the chest lifted. Whichever version feels right for you. Extend the legs for support underneath the knees. And to move into that comfortable softening of the exhale. Body softening. Feel free to close the eyes. Trying to keep some space between the rows of teeth, that the jaw muscles are soft. And even though it's easy to get distracted here as you're just trying to rest, see if you can take a moment to acknowledge all the different sounds around you. Warm exhale, cool inhale. Four more rounds of breath. And then you can start to wiggle and make some small movements. You're welcome to stay as you are. Maybe you want to close your practice on your back today, or just if you've got time to rest longer. Or maybe roll and stretch. Come up to a seat if you'd like. You can roll through the neck and the shoulders when you're up. And nice big stretch. Oh, and then we'll just bring the hands over the heart in a way that feels good for you. You can also rest your hands at the back of the neck. That might feel nice. Little neck massage. A moment of gratitude for yourself for coming to your practice. and gratitude that we share with each other, as well as acknowledging and gratitude that these practices have traveled through unique and diverse bodies in unique and diverse ways, and we are honored and privileged to be able to use them today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks.